Kent's family is shown at the beginning of the film. His wife Meg, son Jack, and father used to live with him. Today they are going to celebrate Jack's birthday. The clown they summoned will not attend the birthday party. Meg dials Kent's number and informs him of the situation. Kent was a real estate agent, and he was still living in the house he needed to sell. It was an actor's house because there were many costumes. Kent decides to attend the party after seeing the costumes. Kent sees many clown costumes, but he doesn't like anyone. He sees a box, KC was written on it. As he opens the box, a clown costume emerges. He likes it. Kent puts on the costume and goes to the party to make the kids happy. Kent sleeps while wearing the costume of clown. When he wakes up, he discovers that the costume has been attached to his body. Jack has to go to school. So without taking off the costume, he goes to drop Jack at school. When Kent returns, he tries to remove the dress. He uses a paper cutter to cut the costume. Then he uses a machine cutter, but nothing can be done with it. The machine cutter itself breaks. Kent goes to his wife to tell her everything. Meg was removing Kent's clown nose from his face. Kent feels pain because of it. Kent's nose skin also removes with the clown nose. The clown's nose fell down. Their pet dog eats it. Now Kent consults a doctor for his nose. The doctor suggests him some medicines. Kent gets hungry at night and eats all of his house's food. Meg becomes worried seeing all this. How does a man eat so much food? The next day, Kent returns to the house where he obtained the costume. Kent wants to know about the owner of the house and the company of box from which he took the costume. When Kent learns about the company's owner, he contacts him. He asks him about the costume. The man insists that no human should ever come into contact with the costume. Kent, on the other hand, informs him that he has worn the costume. He couldn't take off the costume. After hearing all of this, the man invites him to his home to take out the solution to his problem. The man offers coffee to Kent when he goes there. He tells him about his brother, who lived in that house. He informs him that his brother has died. He tells him about the legend of Clown, who was a demon. The man tells Kent that the demon's body was naturally similar to Clown's. The demon works to keep the kids happy. Every year, he would eat 5 kids. Kent faints suddenly while listening to all of this. The man has tainted Kent's coffee with drugs. He gets faint due to it. Following that, the man ties Kent and places him on a table. Kent awakens just as he is about to sever his neck. The fight begins between them. The man was about to shoot Kent with his gun. Kent snatches the gun immediately from his hand. He points the gun at him and asks, "Why do you want to murder me?" The man reveals on Kent. The costume he has worn is not a costume. However, the legend Clown's skin, about whom he was telling it, is that of a demon. Kent returns home, carrying the man and legend Clown book with him. Kent tells his wife Meg everything. But at that time, his father and some relatives were also there. They call him mad after listening to him. As a result of the demon's dominance over Kent, he breaks his relative's hand in rage. He comes into the car where he has locked the man. Kent was transporting the man to the police station because he attempted to murder him. While escaping, the man attacks Kent. Kent's car gets into an accident due to it. Kent throws the man out of the car and beats him a lot. The man asks him to finish himself. The demon is dominant on you. The demon wants kids to eat. At the same time, he notices some children in a car. Seeing them makes him hungry. He was converting into a demon in reality. He searches for kids as his food. He goes into a forest. There was a kids' camp. He notices a child and says, "I'm hungry." The kid comes near Kent to give him candy. Kent eats his hand with candy. We learn that Kent is also becoming a demon. On the other hand, the police were investigating Meg about her husband. Meg provides false information in order for the police to not apprehend her husband. Reaching home, she sees the book about the legend clown. Kent has taken the book from the man. She becomes terrified after reading the book, because she discovers Kent is transforming into a demon. Kent was seeing his face in a washroom. His face was changing into a demon. His hair was strange and his skin turned white. The color of his eyes was also changing. He hears some voices of kids in the washroom. He immediately leaves because he does not want to eat any child. After it, Kent meets a kid when he goes to his house. He wants to be friends with Kent, despite the fact that he considers him a clown. He scolds the kid and goes inside his house. The kid leaves, but after some time he brings food for Kent. Kent again sends him back from there. On the other hand, we see Kent's dog was also converting into a demon. It has eaten the demon's nose because of it. Kent decides to kill himself, because it was the only way the demon could spare him. Deciding this, he calls his wife for the last time. He tells her he is about to kill himself. Meg leaves in search of him after hearing all this. Kent shoots himself while placing a gun into his mouth. But he didn't die, even though rainbow colors poured from his brain. We discover that he has become a demon completely. It is not easy to kill him. He recalls the costume man cutting his neck when the gun didn't work. Kent may die because of it. He goes to a shop and brings some machine cutters. He moves the chair at the backside while sitting on it, so the cutters will cut his neck, but then the kid appears. He wants to become Kent's friend. Kent's neck is not cut by the blade. The kid dies. Kent eats his dead body. While searching for him, his wife also arrives there. Kent asks her to go back. Meg somehow takes him home. When Kent gets home, he asks him to tie him, not open him, despite what he says. Meg does the same. She ties him with a pillar. Meg wants to spare her husband from the demon costume. For this, she sees the legend clown book carefully. It reveals to her the man who wanted to kill Kent has also gone through it. It means he has worn this demon dress once. She wants to go to the man, so she'll find out how he got away with this dress. The man was in hospital. Meg approaches him, tells him she wants to free her husband from this demon dress. The man couldn't speak. While writing, he asks Meg, "Where is Kent?" Meg says he is at home. The man teaches her not to trust Kent. She asks the man, "Can you tell me how to get out of the dress?" The man was saying her again and again not to trust him. Following that, Meg goes to the house where Kent discovered the dress. She finds a camera and she discovers after seeing it, when the man put on the dress, he completely transformed into a demon. His brother brought 5 kids for him. They were cancer patients before the demon within the man devoured them. He was saved like this. Meg forgets to pick up Jack from school, and some students tease Jack at school. While fighting with those kids he returned home. Kent was tied with a pillar. Kent calls Jack near him listening to his voice. Jack tells Kent that some boys have teased him. He asks for a chain cutter from Jack. He lets himself go and goes to teach those kids a lesson. The boys who teased Jack. On the other hand, Meg receives a call that Jack has gone from school. She is terrified as she returns home. She sees Kent was not in the place where she left him. She asks Jack about Kent. Jack tells her everything. Meg was well aware that Kent goes there to eat those boys. Jack's mother decides to drop Jack at his grandfather's home. He will be saved there. Kent has eaten the boy. Meg was going with Jack to his grandfather's home. Meanwhile, their demon dog starts barking at them loudly. The KC company's owner approaches from behind and kills it by cutting its neck. The man comes from the hospital to assist Meg. The man tells her his story. He tells he had a KC company in which he made clown costumes. One day, a ship arrives from Iceland, and everything on board has been damaged. This costume was adequate. Before selling it, he says, "I wanted to try it." His brother was a doctor in a cancer hospital. And he wanted to amuse the children while wearing the costume. The man wears the dress and entertains the kids. When he removes the dress, it becomes stuck to his body. Then he converted into a demon. His brother brought 5 cancer patients who were at the last stage. The demon has eaten them, and like this, the man's life was saved. The man tells his doctor brother has kept the dress. He took the responsibility for the safety of the dress. But he died, and Kent had this costume. He tells them that we must stop Kent at all costs. Otherwise, he will cause a lot of havoc. They leave Jack at his grandfather's house. And go to the boy's house who teased Jack. They see Kent has eaten the boy brutally. After that, they wonder where Kent has gone. Meg says at late night, the PlayStation of children will be open. Kent will be there. When they first go to the PlayStation, they believe everything is normal. However, they notice a kid's cut hand emerge from the bouncer. They are all terrified when they see, but they soon realize Kent is undoubtedly present. Meanwhile, Kent attacks the man with Meg. Meg tells him, "We are here to help you." The demon says, "I want one more kid. Because I eat 5 children every year. After coming into Kent's body I have eaten 4 kids. I only want one child, and that child will be yours, Jack." Meg is initially terrified, but after some thought, she agrees to the demon. 4 kids were murdered at the PlayStation. So the police arrive there. They suspect the owner of the KC company and arrest him. Meg was on her way to the demon with a child when the police officer noticed her. He saves the kid. Meg becomes concerned because she knows demon will now go to Jack. She rushes to her father's house, where she discovers that their father and Jack are fine. He attacks Meg after killing her father. He kills Meg and throws her at a far distance. Meg was still alive. The demon starts searching for Jack. Meg cleverly ties him with a chain. She hurriedly takes an axe from behind and cuts the demon's neck. Kent's body has emerged from the demon's skin. At the same time, the police arrive and seize all of the evidence. The film comes to an end here.